Hello, everyone. I believe I've already had the pleasure of meeting most of you during finance immersion or IB recruiting this year. But for those of you who haven't, my name is Chinmay Patel, and I'll be interning at Evercore's Menlo Park office this summer as an investment banking associate. Honestly, I owe a ton to the IFA. Coming from Canada, transitioning here from fund accounting has been a challenge, and IFA has been with me the whole way. And I want to repay that favor. I want to make sure that the next year's investment banking recruits have just as great of a time as I did recruiting. On top of that, I want to make sure that all of our other verticals, whether it be corporate finance, IM, PE, or VC, are well supported. And I believe I have the tools to do this and the skills. At Western University in Canada, I was actually the president of the Bachelors of Medical Sciences Association, where I planned programming for 3,200 students. I had an executive team of 42, and we had 7 committees in there. We planned over 20 events that year, the largest of which had over 500 attendees. This combined with the fact that this year I was one of the days on the job director for San Francisco, where we planned 19 banks in 5 days, a record for the IFA. I believe I've demonstrated skills that show that I can plan things long term and execute long term strategic vision as well. If elected, I plan to do a lot. And I think what we've done this year has been great. And I just want to build on that foundation. It won't be a year of immense change, but it will be a year of constant improvement of every single thing that we do to make sure that our final product that we leave for the new incoming first years is even better than the one we got. Firstly, I believe that a big need that we have next year is to improve the recruiting cycle and prospects for international students. So I'll actually be implementing having two international VPs, one focused on Latin American students and one focused on students from Asia. These are the two biggest groups of international students that we tend to get. I'll have both VPs of international come up with programming independently which suits their particular needs and is able to better develop those students. And I think this tailored curriculum will help them better understand culturally and network better in North America. Secondly, I believe this year we did an excellent job with technical prep. Next year, let's accelerate that even further, and also really push our boundaries in terms of behavioral prep and deal prep. I feel like a lot of people were caught unawares, especially heading into first rounds where they were asked really detailed deal questions and they hadn't quite prepared for it, or their act coaches hadn't quite drilled them all the way in. I want to work on that. Also, behaviorals. This year, lots of banks asked very tricky behaviorals. I want to make sure we work on that and ask a multitude of variations through the act quizzes, which was a very successful endeavor that the new IFA presidents did this year, and I want to continue next year and enhance it even more. Lastly, I want the VP of Communications to be a more involved role next year. In particular, I believe we should be sending bi-weekly emails detailing massive deals that happened that year. For example, Microsoft Activision, Broadcom VMware, any other deal that keeps popping up in conversation with the MDs. If the whole class is aware of these deals, I think we can better show that Anderson is prepared as a school and not just as individuals, which will help us better navigate those circles of death and overall present a stronger, more unified image. Lastly, I want to reward our act coaches. This year, after all the hard work they did, I feel like we just kind of petered out. I want to have a celebratory act coach dinner next year for everyone who put forward their effort as an act coach. Also, I do want a celebration for us as well. I want a celebration for everyone involved in investment banking recruiting in maybe the last week of January or the first week of February, depending on people's availability, to kind of have closure to our recruiting event instead of just letting it peter out. Another thing that I want to do is expand recruiting efforts across all our other pipelines. For example, PEVC. These are very challenging endeavors being taken by some of our best students, and I want to support them even more. Let's take all the work done by this year's students, develop a database, and that can help next year's students hit the ground running faster. Particularly, I want to really reach out to the alums we've had in private equity and venture capital space in the last couple of years, so that they can have easy first points of contact to kind of build their networking journey with. Furthermore, for corporate finance, which is a really big vertical actually, which I don't think is enough attention, I want to create a structured transition from investment banking to corporate finance recruiting around the middle of January. I want to model this based on the IPT teams that happen for Andertech, and I want to make sure that entire board is involved in it. I know it's a lot of effort, and I know I'm asking a lot of the board, but I think you can make it happen, and I want to make sure that 95% of the students in IFA have a job before the end of May. That is a target that is an ambitious one, but I think we can achieve, especially with the help of the new board. In conclusion, I want to be the IFA president because I believe I can enhance and streamline operations that we had this year and take IFA to even greater heights. I'm sure with all of your help, we can achieve this. I've had a great time being an IFA member this year, and I hope I get to be your president and make the IFA club even better. Make sure that we're the best club at Anderson. Thank you.